I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network, and this is a breaking news alert. Judge Raymond Dearie, the special master who was appointed to oversee the review of the now 11,000 records that Donald Trump stole and was concealing at Mar-a-Lago, which were obtained in connection with the August 8th search warrant executed by the Department of Justice. Judge Raymond Dearie has issued an order. Let me read for you what the order is. And let me also explain to you before reading the order, though, two things. First, Judge Raymond Dearie is no longer reviewing the 100 or so top secret classified records which were obtained by the FBI in connection with the August 8th search warrant. Recall that the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals overruled the district court judge in the Southern District of Florida, Judge Eileen Cannon, with respect to those records when the Department of Justice filed an emergency application for a stay and for the return of those classified records. And then point two, there is an expedited appeal that the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals granted. The Department of Justice has filed its opening brief. A full briefing on that matter will be heard by November 17th, and then the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals will make a ruling on whether Judge Eileen Cannon should have exercised equitable jurisdiction at all. They've already ruled that she shouldn't with respect to the classified records. Now they are going to be ruling with respect to the remaining records before Judge Raymond Dearie and the special master, whether equitable jurisdiction should have been exercised. And as I've said in other videos, it's the same analysis with the classified records as the other government records. And so I believe that even though what I'm going to read you in this order is a briefing schedule that the special master, Judge Raymond Dearie, is setting, I believe what will happen is the Court of Appeals, before this is fully effectuated, this briefing schedule, the Court of Appeals will overrule Judge Eileen Cannon's assertion of equitable jurisdiction, and this entire special master process will come to an end. But in any event, the Department of Justice has the records that they need, those classified records, and they are pursuing their criminal investigation on an expedited and expeditious basis. And you'll recall from our other reporting, for example, that Kash Patel, one of Donald Trump's co-conspirators, was granted derivative use immunity and compelled to testify before the criminal grand jury investigating Donald Trump's crimes relating to the theft of these government records. Let me read for you Judge Raymond Dearie's order. Then let me explain to you the import of this order, which is not good for Donald Trump. Here's the order. Scheduling order. 1. Pursuant to Paragraph 3 of the order appointing special master, the undersigned intends to contact the National Archives and Records Administration regarding its practices and guidance regarding documents concerning the categorization of materials under the Presidential Records Act. Any party seeking to be heard in connection with this consultation may submit a letter of no more than 3 pages by November 10th, 2022. And then number 2, an in-person status conference in this matter is scheduled for Thursday, December 1, 2022 at 10:30 a.m. The undersigned anticipates that this conference will be an opportunity for the parties to elaborate upon their respective positions in advance of the report and recommendation to be filed by December 16th, 2020. Signed by Special Master Raymond J. Dearie, Judge Raymond Dearie, on November 7th, 2022. So when they're saying undersigned, or when he's saying undersigned, he's referring to himself, Special Master Raymond J. Dearie. And why this order is not good for Donald Trump is because Judge Raymond Dearie is already recognizing that the review process should be guided by what the National Archives is saying and what their process is for handling these records, which already tells you that Judge Raymond Dearie believes that Donald Trump, and this is what the law is, that's why he believes this, should have gone through the process from the outset where all of the records go to the National Archives. And to the extent there are disputes with what the National Archives are claiming belongs to the government, which is essentially all of these records here, in the rare instance where that takes place, those cases are supposed to be adjudicated only in the federal court in Washington, D.C., not through this ridiculous motion for judicial oversight that was filed in the Southern District of Florida. So the very framework here within which Judge Raymond Dearie will be analyzing these issues is already accepting a fact that Donald Trump violated the obligations that he had by doing an end run around the National Archives, and the deference with which the special master Raymond Dearie is giving to the National Archives based on what the law already is shows you essentially that he believes that Donald Trump is full of crap. Now, he's giving the parties until November 10th to file briefs on his intent to do that, which is also kind of baiting, or is kind of baiting Donald Trump, because what Trump's position here, what Trump will likely argue, is that don't go to the National Archives because issues X, Y, and Z. But if Donald Trump says you should go to the National Archives, well, then there shouldn't have been jurisdiction in the first place for Judge Eileen Cannon, since the archives process is that any disputes are adjudicated in the Washington, D.C. federal court. And so here Donald Trump is being put on the spot by Judge Raymond Dearie to basically give his position about whether he should even go to the National Archives. Like Donald Trump, the most basic premise, should I even be asking the National Archives? Which of course you should, but watch Donald Trump and his lawyers try to fumble, and my prediction is they'll say, no, we don't want you doing that. And then they'll go and try to file a motion with Judge Eileen Cannon, similar to the previous motion they said, which is that we don't think the archives should be involved. That's why we have the special master. And the special master is saying, look, I have to go follow what the archive says because I am following what the law is, not how Judge Eileen Cannon tried to butcher the law here. The fact that the judge is also setting this November 10th date also shows you that Raymond Dearie wants to move this process along and get Donald Trump to write something before the appeal, expedited appeal before the 11th Circuit, which is pending, which I talked about at the outset of the video, is fully briefed. Now, let's go to point number 2. Point number 2 says an in-person status conference in this matter is scheduled for Thursday, December 1, 2022. And then Judge Raymond Dearie says by December 16th, 2022 is when the report and recommendations to be filed are going to happen. So again, Judge Raymond Dearie is sending a signal here to two things. One, he wants to move this show along, so he's telling Trump and his lawyers, I expect you to be here by December 1. But I think there's something deeper going on here as well. I think Judge Deary is also sending a signal through this scheduling order to the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals to remind them of these dates and deadlines, and basically saying, look, it doesn't say this here, but if you read between the lines, potentially, like, look, 11th Circuit Court of Appeals, I'm going to hold this hearing on December 1. I know that this expedited appeal to overrule this whole process that Judge Eileen Cannon started and shouldn't have started, the briefing on that will be done November 17th. Like, can you try to reach an order before December 1st? And also, if you don't, then I got to hold a status conference. And one of the issues at the status conference will undoubtedly be the status of the appeal before the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals. But also, I think it signals to the 11th Circuit Court of Appeal, like, look, I got the status conference. I got to be done by the 16th. Can we get the show on the road before then? But Raymond Dearie, nonetheless, will hold the status conference if the Court of Appeals doesn't rule. And in all these other status conferences, he's been extremely, and appropriately harsh on Trump and his lawyers because they just keep trying to BS him. And he's always like, where's the beef? What are you talking about? Just stop making up things in my courtroom. I don't have patience for this. We need to focus on what is at issue here. And he does not want Donald Trump and his lawyers to continue to play these games. And that is something undoubtedly that he will reiterate at the December 1st hearing. But what's my prediction? Look, I've told you with a great degree of confidence that the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals is going to overrule Judge Eileen Cannon's assertion of equitable jurisdiction. There was never a finding of callous disregard for the rights of Donald Trump. The 11th Circuit Court of Appeals stated that in their ruling on the emergency application to stay returning those 100 classified records. And if you don't find a callous disregard for the rights of a party, you can't find equitable jurisdiction. The other elements that would then need to be satisfied is irreparable harm to the party who was searched or is being criminally investigated, and the need of that party to get the records back. But the threshold question is there a callous disregard? If the answer is no, no equitable jurisdiction. And the 11th Circuit has previously analyzed those other two elements as well and said there can't be irreparable harm for Trump because those records don't belong to him and he doesn't need to have documents back that don't belong to him. So that's how they ruled the classified records back. But that same application of the law that I just went through, they will apply here. There's no difference. He stole government records. He stole classified records. No callous disregard for Trump's rights. No equitable jurisdiction. That's going to be the finding. The question is, when is that finding? And I think Judge Raymond Dearie just wants out of this and wants nothing to do with this complete mess that Judge Eileen Cannon started. Nonetheless, Judge Raymond Dearie is someone of high integrity. He will go about his work with the work ethic as if the 11th Circuit isn't going to make that ruling. But I think Judge Dearie's like, this district court judge had no clue what in the world they were doing at all. I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. We will keep you posted. Hit the subscribe button. We are on our way to 1 million subscribers. We just hit over 700,000 subscribers on our channel. Let's get to 1 million by the end of the year. It's free to subscribe, so please hit the subscribe button there. In addition, if you want to support independent media like this, and you can, become a patron of MeidasTouch by going to patreon.com/MeidasTouch, patreon.com/MeidasTouch. Join one of these subscription memberships there where there's a lot of exclusive content, exclusive podcasts, exclusive behind the scenes footage, exclusive merch. There's some membership tiers where you could become an honorary producer of our podcast and your name will appear, and so much more. But most importantly, we are not funded by any outside investors, no millionaire or billionaire investors who fund the both sides media and pro-fascist media, which you and I and none of us can stand anymore. So I know you got a lot of subscriptions, so no worries. But if you can, wherever you are in the world, you can join our Patreon site at patreon.com/MeidasTouch. It goes a long way. And whenever you ask, what can we do to help? If you can do that, it goes a long way. Patreon.com/MeidasTouch. Until next time, I'm Ben Meiselas.
MeidasTouch is unapologetically pro-democracy. And look, we know you are too. So please make sure you check out our best-selling shirt and our best-selling gear, the unapologetically pro-democracy gear. And hey, while you're at it, make sure you check out my favorite shirt and one of our most famous designs, It Wasn't Rigged, You're Just a Loser, at store.MeidasTouch.com. That's store.MeidasTouch.com.